Welcome back to Bold of You to Say, the podcast on the internet.
Yep. Was I supposed to say something?
I feel like we don't do this enough. If this is your first time here, first of all, welcome. We do this show every week. We talk about our hot takes, I guess you could say, about different aspects of pop culture. Usually ends up being Star Wars.
Yeah,
this week we talked.
Star Wars fans.
Like, 2/3 of this episode was about Star Wars. Then the last third was about our frustrations against the video game industry. Also, President Trump may or may not be dying, but we did not cover that this week. But just so you know, we are aware of that, and just like you, we have no idea what to think.
Are you saying that right now so you can put Trump in the search terms?
You know, that's actually a really good idea. I think that would be really good for analytics.
Just mention something like one time, you're like, hey, Donald Trump, and then put that in the analytics. Like, don't even address anything about Trump. Just say his name randomly in the middle of a conversation. That way we can just throw it in.
To fill out the tags.
Mention every famous person.
Joe Biden, Obama, Hillary Clinton, Mitch McConnell,
George
Weather.
No, he's not famous anymore. Halloween.
Yes, the Marvel movies.
DC Snyder Cut.
Yes, The Mandalorian Season 2. What else is in the news? What else is newsworthy?
Skyrim?
Chris Pratt did an Instagram post that I wanted to talk about, but we didn't get to it. That was offensive. So yeah, Chris Pratt. We'll put that in the tags.
Oh, I want to hear about this. I have been a little behind, so.
Our social media will be linked in the description, so you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, whatever.
Just don't
Jared's
follow
Twitter
us
handle
home.
is a lie. Yep.
It's always a lie.
If you want to yell at us for anything that we have said wrong in this episode, you can yell at us there. Timestamps will be in the description, so you can skip to whatever topic you'd like. And just remember, may the Force be with you.
And also with you.
I bought and subsequently installed, and then proceeded to play Star Wars Squadrons.
Actually, I thought you were just gonna buy it just to have.
I just bought it for the Fortnite glider.
Someone probably did that.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of people would have done that. But
you were saying to me earlier though, it's like really fun and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's so good. I've only played a little bit of it. I got it installed just enough to start playing it. Like, games on Origin, you know, they install to like whatever, like 80-90%, and then you can play it, and you know,
which is a thing I think more games should do, because like they did that with Battlefront 1 and 2 when EA released them. I got the new and improved version of Battlefront 2, which is the one that you don't have to buy every one, which is basically a normal video game. But, so I got normal video game Battlefront 2, and when I was installing it, they give you an actual, like, match you can play as I think you play it as a hero character, I want to say. Yeah, you play as Kylo Ren, and you just go around killing people. In the first one, it's just the Hoth part with Darth Vader, and you're just killing everyone in a room. It's fun.
Yeah, as a proud owner of both of the Battlefront games, well, I don't own the first one anymore.
I do. So I like it, but I'm not I don't know.
I mean, I just like having stuff set in the Star Wars universe. And having like a basic first-person shooter with like stormtroopers and stuff, that's my shit.
Yeah, I just feel like though with how they have Battlefront 1 set up, it's a bit too grindy for some of the weapons. Because like I played for like 8 hours for like all together, and in those 8 hours I did nothing but like playing like matches and shit, and like doing pretty okay, not real good, not too bad, but like a decent amount that probably level you up a few times. And I got I think
the
4
first
levels.
game was really repetitive.
Yeah. It's got cool cosmetics though, but it's a shame they're all locked behind, level fucking 50 and 120 and shit like that. It's like, I'm not even level 4 yet. You can't even give me like a new gun. How am I supposed to get the shock trooper?
Yeah. Well, anyway, Star Wars Squadrons. So
yes,
I played a bit of that yesterday, and I was playing it in VR, which is amazing. I'd suggest it to anyone that has a PC and a VR headset. I'd strongly recommend it if you're interested in the game at all. Just get Rocket League on the Epic Game Store. That'll give you a $10 coupon. Then buy Squadrons for $30 after the coupon is taken out, and you get the Fortnite glider, by the way.
For all you Fortniters.
Yeah. But yeah,
we know it's a key part.
Strongly recommend it. The only complaint that I had, and I don't know if this was just because I was playing it while it was installing and it didn't have everything optimized yet, but I have a RTX 2070 Super in my computer, and I was pulling about 30 to 40 frames per second.
I think it might have been because it was installing. Because I remember having problems similar like that on Battlefront 2 when I was installing it, where it just has like weird glitchy like dips in quality, but then it fixes it and then it just keeps downloading.
Yeah, I figured it was still optimizing everything.
No, because like what you're playing is basically like a trial version, like the demo version. Like you weren't playing the actual game; you were just like
No, I was playing the actual game. It was the first. I was playing the first couple missions of the story mode.
Oh shit! I thought it was just like what they do with the Battlefront games, where it's like here's an arena shooter, enjoy.
No, you can play the. You can start the campaign if it's still installing.
Huh. Now, how's flight controls in that? Because I know it's like a spaceship only kind of game.
Yeah.
So like, also, do you get to pick what faction you're on, or do you only play as rebels?
Well, the story alternates between Imperial and Rebel. You play as an Imperial pilot and a Rebel pilot, two particular pilots. And yeah, from what I've heard, the story is just basic, like, here's your next mission, go do it. I haven't played much of it yet. From what I have played, I can tell you a little bit about the story.
Alright.
So the first mission that you're on, yes, spoiler alert, if you care about the campaign at all, just skip to... I don't know, just keep skipping until we're not talking about Star Wars anymore.
They go to the end of the podcast.
So you start out as this Imperial fighter pilot.
Hell yeah.
And you're basically doing like flight checks, and then you get a call about some trouble going on with some smugglers or whatever. So you go to this basically like a space gas station, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it.
Refueling port.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember what exactly it was, but it's like, oh, they're smuggling people from Alderaan, those traitors to the Empire, and it's like literally a refugee ship. And as you're chasing some people through a tunnel, your captain comes from behind and disables your ship and like the other like captain's ship, and he's like, see you guys, I am not about to blow up a refugee ship. So yeah, this Imperial like commander has decided to defect and join the rebels.
You have to hunt him down.
After you play as the Imperial pilot, it switches over to the rebel perspective, and they get a distress call from this location. So they come, and this guy is like, hey, from the Empire, don't want to be from the Empire, so take me in and I'll give you secrets. So yeah, at the point that I got to, we were just protecting him and getting him away from danger.
Alright.
So it's shaping up to be pretty interesting, I think.
I just hope it's not another... Like, I have this problem with a lot of Star Wars media, where I like the bad guys. Like, I like their designs, I like their ships, I like their gears and shit like that. I think they look pretty cool and stuff. And I'm really sick of seeing all these like stormtrooper stories where it's like, I want to know more about like what these guys are like, where it's just all of a sudden, now I'm going to be a good guy. And it's like, come on. I want to see what the other stormtroopers, like the ones that stay loyal, like actually think and shit like that. Because like beyond just generic bad guy, you know, I kind of hope this stormtrooper pilot doesn't wind up defecting like every other main character stormtrooper has.
Yeah, I don't. It's all just a nameless, faceless army, I guess. Yeah. They never get any kind of characterization. You know, the regular stormtroopers.
Like every stormtrooper story, though, is the same thing. It's like, here's a stormtrooper, here's a war crime, now he's a hero. It's like, okay, good for him.
Yeah.
Can I see something different? I don't care how many stormtroopers are part. There's more stormtroopers in the Rebel Alliance now than there are normal rebels.
Yeah, I think just the whole concept of like forgiveness and redemption in Star Wars is so I don't even know what
overused.
I don't know how I would describe it. I think oversimplified is a word you could use.
Like everyone has been redeemed at some point in Star Wars, except for Palpatine. He's the only one.
Well, like they always use like the insanity defense, it seems like. Because every time a bad guy gets finger quotes redeemed in Star Wars,
it's like he just turned on a light bulb.
It's always like, I have killed my former self. I am now Darth Poo Poo. And then they kill a bunch. They just commit like 10 genocides in a row over the weekend.
Fun fact, Darth Vader has committed 10 genocides, actually.
Yeah. Are we including Alderaan, you know, the time that he blew up a actual planet?
There's a time he made someone commit a war crime in his own family.
Jeez, yeah.
That's in the comics. I'll talk about that on the next topic point. But yeah, no, that's an actual thing that happens, and it's in the canon comics. So Darth Vader is definitely not a good person.
But then
he accidentally cuts off his son's hand, so now he's a good guy.
But then they just like talk to one of their relatives, and they're like, you know what? I do see the light. There is good in me. You are correct. I am now back to being my old self. Whatever. With Darth Vader, it's I am now Anakin Skywalker again. All of those crimes that were committed, that was Darth Vader. I am Anakin Skywalker. So yeah, different person. Kylo Ren committed all those war crimes, okay? He slaughtered all those people. Ben Solo is a good boy.
No, I want to point this out because it pisses me off the most about Rise of Skywalker. Kylo Ren's redemption arc was that the guy he murdered came to him and told him to be a good person.
And it was, are you referring to Han Solo?
Yeah, he kills Han Solo. He murders his father. Yep, he kills him. Who comes back? How did Han Solo come back? I don't fucking know. He's not force sensitive.
A representation of his memory or something.
Either way, what happens is Kylo Ren's dead father that he murders like, hey kid, don't be a bad guy.
No. It was Ben Solo's father.
I don't care. The point is, they're fucking
different
dumb.
People, Jared. Kylo Ren committed all those war crimes. Ben Solo is completely innocent.
I like the original script better where it's Kylo Ren stays a bad guy and he like has his own like progression into becoming a competent Sith Lord.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
I just once want to see a well-written character that just is bad. It's not just someone who was like tempted by power, and now they're like, ooh, I am edgy and I will commit war crimes.
Like, I'm pretty sure
that's always how it is. It's always like, well, I want to save my family and my loved ones. The pathway to do that is killing children.
Well, Count Dooku, he was Count Dooku and General Grievous are more well-written villains because of it, because they're
That's
bad guys for, like, their own personal reasons. Like,
I have a
General
lot of respect
Grievous
for Count Dooku as a character. I just wish that he was given more screen time.
I was telling
justification.
I was talking to Kyle when I was working at the school about it, and it's like, with all these, like,
shout out to
Boba
Kyle.
Fett, yeah, shout out to Lunchman Kyle, you're the boss, man. But no, I was talking to him, I was like, we see all these things about, like, the Boba Fett movie and the Obi-Wan movie. He's like, I want to see a Count Dooku or a Grievous movie, because these guys had, like, they're competent villains and shit with, like, kind of interesting, like, backstories when you actually read into it.
A solo movie for the Techno Union.
Yes. It's just dubstep. But, no, it's like, these guys, though, are, like, actual decent villains with, like, goals that you can kind of get behind. Like, no, not like get behind us and like, oh, I'm gonna join up, but like, oh, I can understand how he would, you know, want to do that. Like, Count Dooku's whole thing is that he wants to have more power and stuff like that. And it's like, you know what? That's a thing that a lot of people strive for, is like more strength over shit and stuff like that.
And wasn't he like friends with Qui-Gon?
Yeah, he was Qui-Gon's old master.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Qui-Gon had a lot of issues with the Jedi Order. And I would love to see that kind of, like nuanced take.
Dooku also was trained directly under Master Yoda. So, like, you know.
Yeah.
Learning that there's more shit out there other than what my master has taught me, who knows all about this shit, too. It's like, you know what? I kind of want to explore a little bit. I want to see what I could do. Lightning hands? Hell yeah. I can choke people with my mind? I'll take that, too. My lightsaber has a curve to it. Bit weird, but okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like a cane, I think, because he's fancy.
He's got like this whole like elegant design thing because he's a count. Like you
really
see
respect that.
Like a lot of his outfits, you can see him in like in the Clone Wars cartoon, the the old Tarkovsky one, which introduced General Grievous.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. You see, like, different designs the characters wear and stuff. And they're, like, elaborate outfits he always has. He's got, like, some, like, fucking Matt Gala shit he's got. And it's like, you know what? I respect that. Man's got style. He's got an image and he's gonna keep to it.
Very true.
And then Grievous on, like, back to the original thing I was saying, is, like, Grievous also has, like, an interesting, like, whole thing. Because his whole thing is, he's basically a space Viking. Like, his whole race is just, like, this warrior caste race kind of thing, and his whole thing is that he just, he just fights. And, like, he joins up with the Separatists because they rebuild his entire body. He's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with these guys.
Yeah, I know next to nothing about General Grievous, and
General Grievous is one of the most badass characters, and it pisses me off there's not more shit about him. Because he, like, is actually terrifying when you see him doing shit. Like, the Clone Wars dumbs him down, but, like, his original, like, debut was in the old cartoon, and, like, that's still, like, considered, like, how General Grievous is throughout the comics and everything, because he's this, like, terrifying force of nature.
Hold on. So we can just transition into your next topic that you wrote down.
Okay, we're gonna talk about how lore in series, like the background shit, is always so much better than the main shit. Exhibit A, fucking Star Wars. I don't care about the Skywalker dynasty anymore. I want a General Grievous movie or a Dooku movie or anyone else, please. Give me the origin story of how Count Dooku decided to become a Sith Lord.
Yeah, it seems like, why do they leave all that cool shit for in between the movies?
It pisses me off. And, like, the thing is, there's so many, like, extra villains that they don't address in any of the canon lore anymore. And these guys are, like, all of these, like, interesting, like, bad guys. Like, Dirge,
there's so much backstory that's no longer canon. I think the old Legends lore is so much more interesting than current canon lore
because they have competent villains in it. Like, they had a thing.
Well, it's because stuff happens outside of just, Anakin had a kid, and that kid was like, "You're good," and Anakin was like, "Yeah." and then there was another person that came along 40 years later, and they were like, "Luke, where you at?" And Luke was like, "Ugh." and then this new person was like, "Hey, get back out there." And it's like, you're right. You'd think we would have done some stuff in the last 35 to 40 years.
Nah. We need a time for the stormtroopers to come back.
In Legends in the Legends like timeline, there was so much cool shit that happened between just after, like post Return of the Jedi. Cool stuff that happened.
The Rebel Alliance,
Yuzong Vong invading, the Empire, the remnants of the Empire being dealt with, but instead
the entire
of that, we get 40
Luke's
years
Jedi
of
Academy
nothing,
shit,
and then just some boring shit.
I mean, there's an entire thing about Luke basically fighting a space god that was in Legends and is not.
When are we
going
to make Luke canon?
Oh god. For those who don't know, Luke is Luke spelled with an extra U, and it is the clone of Luke Skywalker that's inhabited by the Emperor's essence.
I think that's all that we needed to present to make our argument.
But in Legends though, there's so many like Clone Wars era villains that you never see. Like, and it pisses me off because they're all interesting. Like, some of them were resurrected for the CGI cartoon, like Ventress and Death Watch and shit like that, and the Mandalorians. Like, they all came back and everything, but like there's some of them that didn't, like fucking Dirge, the Mandalorian hunter. Like, where the fuck is he? He's this let me give you a rundown on Dirge because he's awesome. He's a immortal shapeshifter. They kill him in the comics by jettisoning him into a sun, and even that doesn't actually kill him. He's just perpetually stuck on a burning sun, dying and not dying at the same time, because you can't kill him. But his whole thing is that he wants to kill Mandalorians and shit because they hunted his species to extinction almost. I don't know how. There's like some magic metal they used or some shit. But point is, Dirge went into hibernation and then came out like a millennia later and discovered that all of like the Mandalorians during his time were dead. But oh hey, here's an entire army of cloned Mandalorians. He's gonna go join the other guys to kill them, because that's all he wants to do. He just wants to kill Mandalorians. He's a simple man with simple goals, and I can respect that. There's those guys, fucking... Then there's, like, an entire, like, A-team in the Empire that Darth Vader assembles. This is in Legends, and it pisses me off that it's only there, because, like, there's an entire storyline about, like, Imperial conspiracies to overthrow the Emperor, in which Darth Vader and, like, this, like, group of people are, like, trapped in this fucking Imperial death trap. Because all these other, like, officers are trying to overthrow Palpatine and stuff like that. So him and his, like, A-team that he's, like, assembled together out of all these guys he's been round up with have to go through and, like, fucking fix shit. And it's awesome, because, like, you don't ever see that. You don't ever see Vader, like, working with other Imperials. He's just murdering them whenever he feels like it, and it pisses me off. Like, you don't even see competent stormtroopers anymore. Like, Bill Burr's character is the only stormtrooper that could shoot something, and he missed most of his shots.
Oh yeah,
he says he wasn't, but he was a sharpshooter.
Like, ex-Imperial, right?
He's an ex-Imperial sharpshooter, implying that he's not a stormtrooper, but a scout trooper. And even then, that doesn't mean shit, because they're still inaccurate as fuck. As Mandalorian also proves later.
Yeah, I mean, the best contribution that the Mandalorian gave to Star Wars canon, though, was just the knowledge that during Return of the Jedi, during the battle on Endor,
Bill Burr was there.
There's a chance that Bill Burr was one of those people running around battling the Ewoks. I imagine he escaped somehow.
Bill Burr fighting the Ewoks like, oh fuck! Oh shit! There's little teddy bears everywhere! Get these fucking things off of me! Just screaming. Just so high energy and very aggressive too. He's like stabbing one with a knife.
We need a whatever his character was, a Bill Burr
Mayfield.
Star Wars solo movie.
His name was Mayfield.
Yeah.
I want Private Mayfield. Saving Private Mayfield.
Bill Burr, a Star Wars story.
But it's like, the thing is though, it's not just a Star Wars issue. Like, I noticed it the other day when I was like going through, you know how Halo, the game series, has a bunch of books with it?
I was not aware of that, but
no one ever fucking reads the books. No one ever reads the books, and there's a problem with that. In Halo, they have a whole, like I think it's 30 plus books now, and it's all just like background lore and shit. And some of it is actually kind of like a big deal for the whole universe, but they don't ever address it. Like, you know how like the floating like robot guy in the first game's a bad guy?
I have never actively played Halo.
Okay, so in the first Halo, you're introduced to a floating robot ball named 343 Guilty Spark, who turns out to be a bad guy. He then helps you in the second and third games, but then you kill him at the end of the third one. Well, he's not actually dead. So apparently, when you kill him, you don't really kill him. You just like beat him to a pulp, and then like some other people find him and think he's just space
What
junk.
happened was you killed his body, but as he fell down the reactor, he transferred his Sith essence into a clone body.
Fuck off. No, but like they find like broken parts to his old like chassis, and they take it onto this like UNSC ship, which are the human guys. And they're trying to find like Forerunner data for some reason. I think it was like a research vessel. But when doing that, they wind up plugging his CPU into like the whole ship, so he just takes over. And like there's an entire story arc where this guy, who was a bad guy, also apparently was once an ancient human, which is another thing that Halo has. Apparently there were humans before the Forerunners wiped out the galaxy, which is a thing that happened that is talked about in the games. That's the main plot of Halo, is trying to not have that happen again.
Yeah.
But they introduced that there was ancient humans, and that 343 Guilty Spark apparently was at one point one of them. And then he has a whole like redemption arc where he slowly regains his humanity and like his memories of who he once was and shit like that. And it's like, you know, I kind of feel like that should be in the mainline games, because it's the bad guy, the main antagonist of the first 3 games. But no, it's just a side story in a fucking like chapter book that no one read. Like there's an entire story arc about like political assassinations between like the humans and the aliens that joined forces with them in the second and third games, because like Oni, which is the like really they're basically like MI6 in the Halo universe but more corrupt, and Oni like fucking is trying to like make it to where the aliens won't like kill humans again. So what they're doing is they're like sabotaging supply chains and like trying to assassinate political figures and stuff like that. There's like a whole bunch of shit, but like that's never brought up in the main games. It should be, because it's kind of a big deal in the background lore that this entire faction within the good guy faction is trying to basically kill everyone. There's also like the whole story about like in the new game that's coming out, the new Halo game. They're taking it's taking place on one of the Halo rings from the books. And that one's like a big deal because it adds in all of like the stuff from the Forerunner timeline. And it's like adding that into the mainline universe. But the problem is there is like no build up to it. So all of a sudden people are going to be like bombarded by all this fucking weird shit. Like this giant trans-dimensional entity that's imprisoned on the Halo ring. That's going to be in the game, probably. No one's going to be ready for it. I can promise you that. Like, even in the chapter books you're reading at that point, it's like, oh, this thing, what? I thought this, what is this? This isn't Halo. This feels like it's a Stranger Things monster. In fact, it looks like one, too. I feel like a lot of the background lore in series, like especially Star Wars and Halo, needs to be more brought to the center. For Star Wars, it's more of a quality thing. For Halo, it's more of a, why the fuck aren't you addressing this before you shove it in people's faces?
Well, like, in Star Wars, I noticed one thing that they kind of took inspiration from Legends. In The Rise of Skywalker, I guess, spoiler warning if you haven't seen it at this point.
Just read a fan fiction.
Yeah, you'll get the same experience. So, anyway, Rey's grandfather, who was always Rey's grandfather, that was the plan from the start all along. It turns out Palpatine was alive, and he was actually the one pulling the strings. And it's very sloppily explained. Not in the movie, though. In the movie, it's just like...
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, can you fucking believe it? He's here.
Like, there's so much... I want to address this also. I know you're talking about... So I don't know if it's the same thing, but there's a problem with Star Wars right now where all of the important, like, key plot points in that movie are being explained on Twitter, on the official account, where they're like, hey, you know how Finn was trying to tell Rey something? It's that he's Force sensitive. It's like, fuck you! No! You don't just get to, like, make an entire movie and answer nothing and then just do a Q&A on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
What? Where's the build-up to that?
I think it was the visual dictionary that actually explained why Palpatine was around.
Yeah.
So the way it was explained in the book was like, yeah, so Palpatine used some like Sith alchemy cloning shit to transfer his life essence into a new body, and I guess he just had one lying around at the time of Return of the Jedi.
Where?
And then
on a Death Star that blew up
to Exegol, and he uses these Sith bootlickers to sustain himself, and they made Snoke and everything. And it's like, that was already done, like, way better in the expanded universe. Like, with Luke and with, like, the whole... There's, like, a whole... Basically, like, a clone saga where the Emperor was just putting his Sith essence into a new body, but, you know,
it's explained so much better, and it has, like, more interest to it.
There's, like, a volatile nature to his spirit. Like, you know, cloning any Force user, it like, makes the body deteriorate at a way faster rate, so he has to, like, go from body to body. You can do an interesting story with that if you have a plan. And if that's actually your intention from the start. But if you're trying to complete a trilogy and you just throw that in randomly, of course it's not gonna be received as well. And that's the whole problem with the entire sequel trilogy.
That I think the biggest problem though is that they just kept changing like directors and stuff and like writers constantly.
Exactly.
It's like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are two completely different movies. The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker are two completely different movies. Like, there's nothing besides the main characters that connect them. Everything about them, from like their tone, what their like, what their stories are about, what they're showing, what they're trying to like spread a message about, and stuff like that. All of them are so different. It's confusing. It's a mess. It's like with the other 6 movies, like, they had a story that they were going through. Like, the prequel trilogy did it messy, but it was still, like, you know, comprehensive.
Yeah, there was a singular vision behind it, and you can fault the prequels for their writing and the directing. You know, you can, and the effects and everything. You can fault it for that, but you cannot fault the vision. There's a vision behind it.
It's an all right story. I think people go too hard on the Attack of the Clones.
I definitely like the idea of the prequels.
Yeah, I think people just don't like the CGI the most, and they're gonna complain about it.
That is it is pretty awful how much they over relied on CGI for everything.
It's terrible. That was the time though.
It's terrible though how the original trilogy, the effects look so much better for the most part than the prequel trilogy because it was all practical.
Yeah, that's the thing. Practical effects will always look better than CGI most of the time, unless you got like the budget Disney has where they can create an entire human body that died, which is insane and like probably linked to Satan in some way.
It was also like 1998 to 2005. Yeah, where it was like the craze to have CGI in your movies, like Scorpion King, I think was a movie with the Rock as that horrible.
No, it's not monster. Scorpion King. It's The Mummy Returns.
The Mummy Returns. Is that the one with the Rock in it, and he has the CGI face?
Yep. It's also one of the greatest sequels ever made.
Yeah. See, the effects back then looked so much worse because they thought that this new technology was going to be like the future of filmmaking. But I really like the position we are in now, special effects wise, because the CGI for one has gotten a lot better, but also they stopped relying on it for everything. Like movies are returning to actually using practical effects for a lot of stuff.
Shit, I gush about these movies a lot and like their effects, but like the Lord of the Rings trilogy has some pretty okay special effects. Some of it's like really good.
Turned the man invisible on set. Can you believe it?
Fuck off. No, but like I'm serious though. Some of the CGI for a lot of the creatures and stuff is like really, really decent and like really good. There's some things that look very fake. Like there's a scene in I think the second movie where the three guys, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, they all get on horses, and there's a part where Legolas jumps on his horse. But I guess Orlando Bloom didn't want to actually get on a horse, so they had to CGI that in, and it just looks terrible. It looks like a rubber band man, like, flying onto a horse, but, like, everything else in that looks great. All the monsters look awesome. Fucking Gollum is still a CGI masterpiece to this day. And then another movie, the original Infinity War, Pirates of the Caribbean 2, Dead Man's Chest, fucking Davey Jones. I will always mention Davey Jones because, like, this amazing. Is what, 2007, 2008? And he looks like an actual squid person. Like, you could reach out and touch him and, like, feel the slime if you wanted to. He's like the Thanos of that time. And he still is, like, amazing to this day. Like, you look at that and you can't even tell it's Bill Nighy under it. You just think that's actually Davey Jones, the evil man demon of the sea. I don't know what Davy Jones was in folklore. I assume he's like a ghost pirate. But, still though, like, some of the CGI isn't bad. It just depends on how much money you put into it. And also, like, what time frame you're in. Because, like, even though there's like about a 5-year difference between not Attack of the Clones, but Revenge of the Sith and fucking Pirates of the Caribbean 2, you can definitely tell the dated CGI in Revenge of the Sith, and then you can tell, like, the good shit from Pirates of the Caribbean 2.
Yeah. Well, you can see a difference in how CGI is treated between these different creators, like in Pirates of the Caribbean with like Davy Jones and stuff, movies like that have I think they have more respect for CGI in a sense because they treat it as a supplement to any practical effects that they have on set. Anything you can't do practically, you do with CGI, whether it's just not feasible or it's impossible or it's just less cost effective. Now, the way that George Lucas did it is he just saw CGI as like
a replacement, a substitute.
It's a replacement for the movie making process in his mind.
Yeah.
because I don't know if you've seen these videos, but there's like behind the scenes videos where he is in the editing room and he will literally have his editor like tweak like when a person moves their head. Like something as minute as that, he will use CGI to fix it. Like there's an example in the Phantom Menace, I believe, where they like this example is done pretty well from what I remember, but they just have like they add a little bit of delay between when Captain Panaka says something like he was going to say like immediately after this line, but then it's like, no, I want a little bit of a pause. That one was good, but I mean, still don't rely on stuff like that. Just be a director. But there's a much worse example in Revenge of the Sith. In the opera scene where Palpatine is explaining the legend of Darth Plagueis to Anakin. When they were shooting, Anakin turned Hayden Christensen, the actor that plays him, turned his head a little too soon for George's liking. So in post,
for George's liking,
in post, they changed it so I don't remember what exactly they did to do it, but they made it so he turns his head at like a different time, and you can tell just watching it, like there's something off about this movement. And it kind of goes into that like uncanny valley territory where it's like it's a human on screen, but it's not that human's actions.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's like seeing the clone troopers and like the dated CGI.
Yes.
Where it's like
why did all the clone troopers have to be CGI?
Well, I feel like they did that just because George Lucas didn't want to, use the money to buy more Stormtrooper armor.
No,
he didn't want to fill up all the extras and stuff.
Using CGI for like the group shots where it's like the entire army of the Republic.
There should have been some like some
but if
guys
it's like
in outfits,
Obi-Wan talking to Commander Cody, there's no reason for Commander Cody to be 100% CGI.
Absolutely, like it's ridiculous. Like fucking, I don't understand why they did that, because like they had people in armor too. Like Jango Fett has two models: the CGI model for the jetpack and the actual actor in the armor costume. So like, it's not like he didn't have a budget for it. I guess he just didn't feel like hiring actors or whatever for those roles.
I just can't imagine. I can't imagine at that point money playing a part in the production. Okay. Like,
now
we can't afford to fabricate a costume for this character, so just make it CGI.
I don't know if that's more cost effective,
but also like, are you telling me that this Star Wars movie at the height of its popularity was limited by money, by its budget?
No, I'm not saying it's limited by the budget. I'm just saying I don't think he wanted to spend that much money. Like, I don't think he was like, oh, we have to hire all these extras and stuff. It'd be easier if we just CGI'd this thing, because they all will have the same voice actor. Well, like, they're not different people.
I don't think George Lucas had any issue with spending money. If he's willing to spend the money to CGI an actor's reaction to something, then why shouldn't he put the money into fabricating a just one clone trooper set of armor?
Look, man, I'm not George Lucas. I'm just shooting at the dartboard here. The man is actually insane, so...
That's true.
It could be any reason. Motherfucker thought Jar Jar was the glue to hold the universe together.
Jar Jar ruined everything in universe. You cannot convince me otherwise. He is the one that gave Palpatine the emergency powers.
There's a story arc in canon where Jar Jar Binks' dad tries to kill himself, but he fails.
Jeez.
Like, there's a part where, like...
That's bad. That's terrible.
It gets worse. I remember this, because there's a comic panel, I read it. It's, Jar Jar's mom's comforting him. He's like, don't do it. Just think about what you're going to be leaving behind. Your son, Jar Jar. And he pulls the trigger immediately after hearing that.
Oh, that's
like he misses,
terrible.
but like he tries to kill himself because of Jar Jar. He's like, I thought about it. You're right. Ending it now.
Oh my god. Oh.
It's like, Jesus. But yeah, no, that's how bad the character is. He's so horrible. No one wants to be around him. Fucking Gungans are horrible, I tell you. I don't understand that. Why they needed a race of...
I like their leader, Boss Nass.
Richard Nixon?
Yeah, Richard. I was gonna say he looks and sounds exactly like Richard Nixon, down to the frog-like complexion.
Even how they talk, it's like, Misa want president. It's great. But no, speaking about Gungans and shit though, it's like, I don't know, but I feel like they should be offensive to someone, but I don't know who. You know?
They really feel like a racial stereotype, don't they?
But it feels like a racial stereotype for a race that doesn't exist. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like someone should be offended by this, but I just don't know who. Like, the fucking Trade Federation? Yeah, I can see who would be offended by those guys.
Like, Viceroy Gunray.
Yeah, with their very clear, like, offensive Chinese/Japanese accent kind of things going on.
Yeah, they might as well have just, like, every
put them all in samurai
might as well
armor.
have just ended with, my honor.
Basically. Jesus. But it's like, I don't know. The Gungans are like, they just have that same feeling, but there's no race to put to it. Is it white people?
I feel like someone should be offended by them.
What? Are white people supposed to be offended by them? Is that it? Are they our stereotype, Alex? Is that what we sound like?
I don't even know what a white stereotype would be.
Gungans. It's in the name! Gun! They're American! Yeah, no, they're the fucking worst race in Star Wars. Techno Union for the win.
Yeah. Now, Gungans feel like the galactic version of, like, blackface.
Yeah, basically. I feel so bad for the actor of Jar Jar. Like, you see the outfit he had to wear all the time on set?
Yeah. Looks like a children's Halloween costume.
It's so horrible. Probably smells like that fucking thick silicone latex smell, too. Just slides it on, that's all he smells like. Jar Jar skin. Yummy. Yeah, nah. Star Wars, again, has so much more interesting stuff in the background. I hate that they never use it.
I feel like we should say, if anyone is still skipping ahead right now, we are no longer doing Squadron spoilers.
It's Star Wars lore now. For example, I want to talk about this because I mentioned the Techno Union. You probably didn't know about all of, like, the really awesome, cool shit that they have. Like, their whole thing is they took,
I know next to nothing about Techno Union, and it feels like a crime.
There is very little shit in, like, the stories you can see with them, but from what you do see and some of the characters they add in the extended stuff, they are a very heavily, like, retro sci-fi, like, cyberpunk kind of thing, and I love that. Like, all of their planets are referred to as, like, gas worlds because they've become industrial super centers, where they just manufacture the fuck ton out of everything. Like, they made the super battle droids and shit like that. They produce those things all the time. Like, most of the weapons and shit probably came from them. Anything that the CIS has, or did I say is it CSI or CIS?
It's CIS, Confederacy of Independent Systems.
Yeah.
I've been getting into prequel lore lately.
Yeah, the full name for the Separatists is the the CIS, Confederacy of Independent Systems.
Yeah,
no, I love that.
I feel like
though,
there's no like background for their motivations though. I watched
well,
a
there
rewrite of
is
the
some.
prequels that gave some motivation to them, and it felt like a way better conflict.
Like, a lot of what it is, though, is it's mostly that, it's like people don't agree with some of, like, the Republic's politics and stuff, so they join up with the Separatists.
Well, it's some like
And,
vague stuff about like trade routes and
like,
taxes.
yeah, it's mostly just taxes. Like, the Separatists are like, hey, no taxes if you join us, just ignore the war crimes.
They're the libertarians.
Ignore our walking war crime named General Grievous.
Walking crime against nature, more like. Yeah, I just want some motivation for the separatists. I feel there's no like justification given in the movies for like why they exist. Just outside of like corporate greed, I guess, or like I guess what I mean is there's no reason given for any star systems to join outside of like just that planet being ruled by like a banking clan.
Yeah. Like, no, I feel like a lot of it though is like these are like corporations and stuff like that. Like, a lot of these races rely heavily on like this like intense like industry. Like, for example, the Techno Union does a lot of like under the table shady shit with how it does shit. Like, a lot of their workers are enslaved from the planets they conquer. And stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but in the Clone Wars there's a story arc called the Ryloth War or whatever, some shit like that. Siege of Ryloth, I think. And it's Wat Tambor, who is the Techno Union guy you see in Count Dooku's little circle of friends, right, has invaded and taken over the planet of Ryloth, which is where all the Bib Fortuna guys are from. The guys with like the girls and guys with the weird hair thing that's skin.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
Like the blue chick.
Yeah.
Those people. That's their planet. And Tambar takes it over and is all like, this will make a fine industrial workplace. Get these workers out of here. And like, he's making them mine precious minerals for his robots and shit, his droid factories and things like that. But they go into more about that stuff. But a lot of it is just, I feel like, these guys join up with the Separatists because they're pretty okay with a lot of this horrible shit they do. Like, behind closed doors.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I get that. I wish that the prequels presented like a real not just political but like ideological conflict,
Oh yeah, because at this point it's just like, do you support intense aggressive corporate takeovers, or like, are you a space Jedi?
So much of Star Wars is like, are you on team war crimes or team freedom?
Yeah, basically.
The prequels had so much opportunity to be nuanced and be like, well, the Republic is in charge. They started out as, with like a good idea of like, uniting the galaxy, making sure that there's peace and just, everyone coming together and forming this union. And now it's kind of lost its way. There's a lot of power hungry people in like the Senate and stuff, and there's some systems that want to secede and start their own thing, but the Republic doesn't want that. And there's some seedy individuals on both teams. But instead, it's literally just, are you on team war crime or team righteous saviors?
I know some of the Mandalore arc, the earlier ones, where it's just with Death Watch being like not that big of a deal, like early seasons in Clone Wars. There was a story arc where they were talking about trying to get Mandalore on the Republic side, and they're talking about like the difference in the politics and stuff. And I can't remember for the life of me what they said about the Separatists, but they were talking about like it's a good thing. And I think it was mostly about trade regulations again.
Yeah, it always comes back to trade regulations. They do a little bit better of a job in the Clone Wars, I will say.
Like they have more human characters. Like there's the episode Heroes on Both Sides where a Separatist spokeswoman and Padme like get in a conversation and they talk and stuff, and she's all about like wanting like free people and shit, and doesn't agree with some of the Republic's more like militaristic standings. Because a lot of the Separatists, besides like the main army, is mostly made up of like rich people. Like they don't have their own like forces or anything, except for like a handful of them. But like it's mostly like it's like a business club kind of thing. I feel like it's like here's the Separatists, and here's all of their wealthy co-backers. Ignore Poggle the Lesser, please. Man, I forget all the stuff in that one though, but you should look that one up too. It's Heroes on Both Sides. You can find it on Disney Plus. I think it's season 3.
All right, yeah, I'll pull that up. I'll watch that later.
Hell yeah. If I remember correctly, though, it does end with her being executed by the Separatists, so
Big yikes.
Because they're the bad guys. Woo! Yeah, no, it's just... There's a lot of things like that. It makes me sad. But, no, there's before I forget, there's a character I want to talk about, because he was actually kind of a cool idea that you don't see that often. He was a super soldier that was created by the Techno Union, and he only showed up in a Star Wars: The Clone Wars video game. His name is Cole Teska, and he is basically like the Star Wars version of War Machine. And I fucking loved his inclusion. He was like just a generic bad guy kind of thing, He's like, I'll kill you, Republic. I'm evil, blah. But like, they don't ever show like these things where it's like this guy was genetically like manipulated and has cyborg like augmentations and all this other shit to make him like the best, most like indestructible killing machine. The closest you got to that is General Grievous. But like fucking Cole Teska, like literally survives the vacuum of space and all this other shit just because he wants to kill the Jedi so bad. He's on a mission and he's gonna fuck people up. Yeah, let me see if I can find a picture to show you. Because he's one of the Techno Union guys. There we are. Oh, that's right. They had an action figure for him too. I had that. Fucking cool ass shit too. Here, this is the perfect picture. It's from the German translation. Here we go. This is Cole Teska, or at least the close up on his face. Yeah, no, old game, really old game for the Wii and shit. But no, he was.
This is the Clone Wars video game.
Yeah,
I have that on my Steam wish list. It's still $20, and the reviews are mixed to negative.
Oof.
But I really want to play it just to see how bad it is.
I mean, it's most of it's just the normal Star Wars-y kind of thing where it's like, oh, hey, Star Wars, welcome. Enjoy. Not really much to it. Here's a better view of like his augmentations and stuff that they've done to him. Because it's kind of cool, because it's like, you never see that kind of shit. It's always like, hey, he's the bad guy.
I'm gonna close out this section on Star Wars with a recommendation. If you're a Star Wars fan, there's one movie that I would recommend that really does a great job with character development and just the writing is so incredible. It's called Star Wars: The Third Gathers, Backstroke of the West. It's available on YouTube. Go check it out. I'll probably have it linked in the description.
God damn it, Alex.
It's the best Star Wars movie ever made.
I mean, you're not wrong. There we go.
But if you haven't seen Star Wars The Third Gather's Backstroke of the West, it's Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, but I think it's like translated to like Mandarin. I think it's translated to like a few different languages through Google Translate and then back to English. So all of the dialogue is completely fucked, and there's a lot more swearing than you would expect in a Star Wars movie run through Google Translate.
You underestimate my abilities. No, you have underappreciated my abilities.
That's not even one of the craziest examples of the translation. It's beautiful. You got to check it out. At least check out like the highlight reel from the movie. It's incredible.
I watched the full thing and it is amazing.
I think at the end, when Darth Vader gets like suited up, when he screams no, he screams like "do not want." I think.
Yep. He's like, "Do not want."
I love it. But yeah, that movie has like full voice acting and everything. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to touch on this a little bit. The Spider-Man PS4 remaster. I'm just going to say it.
Yes.
I don't think we need a remaster of that game at this point.
Yeah, no. Like, what are they even remastering? Like, what are they trying to improve the graphics of? Like, look at
I think
most
like
of the
reflections
games
are going to be
out.
better. There's going to be more like, I guess, detail in the textures.
What do you need to improve on the reflections? They're pretty much, like an actual mirror.
I mean, the game looks incredible as it is, and it's fun. It's just an amazing game. Okay, if you want to do stuff to make it better, add more content. Simple as that. They're adding new suits. I like that. They're adding the Amazing Spider-Man suit. One of my personal favorites, underrated suit, in my opinion.
They better add the superior Spider-Man suit.
That's another good one that they should add. They're adding 3 new suits with the remaster. I don't know if they're coming to the PS4, like the original version of the game, but they're putting out 3 new suits. One of them was confirmed. It's the Amazing Spider-Man suit. The other 2 are still a mystery, so maybe Superior Spider-Man is one of them. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But anyway, they recast the face actor thing for Peter Parker in the game. And people are saying that he looks like Tom Holland. I see it. I see the resemblance. He definitely, if he doesn't look like Tom Holland, he definitely looks more like Tom Holland.
I just think he looks younger, really.
He looks like, someone on Twitter said he looks like a high school sophomore. And that's absolutely true.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, to be fair, though, Spider-Man should look like a dweeb, because he is a dweeb.
Well, he doesn't look like a dweeb, he just looks young.
Oh yeah, there's that. But if he's like 30 and he still looks like that.
And I think at this point, we've just accepted and agreed that Peter Parker is just an attractive person. I think
I want the opposite.
Established that through the movies and the comics in like the past.
I want the next reboot
decades
to just make Peter Parker the most disgusting looking person, like the nerd that has all like the pimples and shit. It's like, I'm Peter Parker. How are you doing today? And he puts on the mask. Nah, I'm Spider-Man.
No, I want Peter Parker to like. I mean, while we're talking about him being like a dweeb or whatever, I want him to have a similar personality to what he had originally, like in his first appearance. Like, if we get another Spider-Man origin movie, I don't want him to just be another like nerd with a heart of gold that just doesn't get noticed. Yeah. No, I just want him to be a dick. Like in the original, in his original appearance, he was just a jaded asshole that, didn't get a lot of attention. He wasn't popular just because he was kind of an asshole. Like, yeah, he was a nerd. He was like a bookworm and everything. And that's initially why people aren't into him. But he's also just, he's so cynical.
I remember the
that adds a bit to his character though, because like he has to actually learn how to be a decent person. And Peter Parker, ever since then, he has just always been a great guy, except for like when he wears the black suit and when he's like, not my problem, I'm just gonna let this robber go away. But other than that, I'm a great guy.
He puts on the black suit and he's like, does this mean I can say the N-word? It's like, Peter, stop! No!
But
that's why he's not a great guy anymore.
I digress. That aside, why do we need a Spider-Man PS4 remaster? The game looks amazing. Why do we have to remaster? Like, I get like remastering games for newer consoles. If you're going like when we went from like PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, like the Arkham games, those got a remaster, but that was years later. That was like probably like 5 years later at least.
Shit, Alex, you heard that GTA 5 is being released again on the next line of consoles. That's why. It's because that game was so popular. Spider-Man was so popular. They want to do it again. It's going to be like Skyrim, how it's been released like 100 times.
Yeah, going from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 was an amazing leap. Going from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, that was an amazing leap. I get taking something from the back catalog from the older console and remaking it for the newer console years down the line. But Spider-Man PS4 came out like, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And we're already doing a remaster of it? Why? I mean, I get porting it, but why would you go through all of this trouble just to make it look a little bit better?
So it can be $60.
Well, it's not even $60. It comes with Spider-Man Miles Morales.
That's why. Okay, it's because there's not enough content in that.
But they could sell it with Miles Morales as just as an add-on, like it is right now, and just have it be a port. But why would you go through the trouble of remastering everything 2 years later? And why would you go through the trouble of recasting the face of the character, which is going to piss off so many fans? Why would you go through all that just for marginal improvements?
It's just so it looks all the same and stuff. That way there's like no like weird transition between the two, even though they basically look the same anyways.
It is a weird transition though.
I believe that the reason why they're doing that is because Miles Morales, that whole thing is going to be like a DLC. Like it's going to be a game, but it's going to be basically the size of a DLC.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
People are going to notice. So that what they're doing is they're recreating the other game too, and giving that to you guys as a little freebie so no one will complain about it. Because, oh, look, you got 2 whole games. Why are you mad?
I don't know. I wouldn't even be upset about that. I wouldn't be upset about it if it was just a port. Like, I understand wanting to play Spider-Man PS4 on PS5.
No, but Alex,
all that you have to do is upscale it, port it to PlayStation 5. You don't have to build it from the ground up.
Yeah, but Alex, there would be people that would be like very angry about it. Look at what happened with the Mario game thing. Whereas Nintendo said
that's way different.
I mean, it's the same thing. They just ported the game over to that thing. They didn't say it was going to be a redo or whatever. They just said, here's the game again. Enjoy.
Well, there's a huge difference between porting a game made 2 years ago for PlayStation 4 over to PlayStation 5. PlayStation 4 games look, for consoles, amazing. Okay,
yeah.
You don't really need to do a whole lot to update them.
Yeah, but I'm not saying
it seems like they're going through unnecessary amounts of trouble for this. But if you're taking an N64 game and putting it on the newest console, you got to do something to update it.
I know, I'm just saying that look at the backlash that happened with it, though. Like, that's probably why they're recreating it. They don't want to, just re-release the whole thing and then be like, oh, sorry, guys. Because there's going to be a group of people that are going to complain about the graphical differences. There always are. And since, there's all this backlash. Puddlegate?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
So when they were when they released the like promotional material, like trailers and stuff, like screenshots for Spider-Man PS4 before it came out, there were some there was like I think there was like a demo video that they did at like E3 or something, and there were puddles in this level, and they had like really good looking reflections and stuff, and just, you know, in general it looked incredible. You know, they always spruce up the promotional stuff so it looks better than what the game ends up looking like. But anyway, when the game came out, people realized like, hey, these puddles don't look nearly as good as they did in this demo video that you put out. And people felt, you know, they felt like they were kind of getting ripped off in a way because they felt lied to by this game.
These motherfuckers feel lied to when they buy a $60 game and it doesn't have good enough graphics. I paid $100 on a video game, and that video game, since for the past like 3 years since I bought it, has become a free-to-play game, and they're now removing all of the content I paid for.
Are you talking about
Destiny
2? That was my guess.
But like, these fuckers are making more of a hissy fit than I did over that. I'm pissed. I'm not playing another Destiny game. I definitely am not going to play that one again.
Well, I got the old CSGO one. And I bought Rocket League.
No, those are both
free to play now. Yeah, and I bought GTA 5, which is now free.
I
bought GTA 5 like 3 months before it went free.
Yeah. No, it's just garbage. No, but I bought Destiny 2, though. Pre-ordered it. Got all the fucking DLC and all the stuff, and they're getting rid of all of that now. So now all I have for it is a $100 statue of a character they killed off.
That's rough, buddy.
I hate this. I hate everything about modern-day Bungie because it's such a toxic thing, and no one's calling them out because they made the game free. It's like, you idiots. Just because it's free doesn't mean this is not a very toxic thing that's now becoming a trend, where a game company didn't do good with their game sales, so they're making it free to play. That's, you know, it should be a legal problem. It technically is not somehow. I don't know why. I looked it up and it's like, can I take the legal action for this? And it's like, no. Certain things are protected with the terms of service they have on MMOs. So it's like, you know, they can do whatever they want. They can change it so it's, you know, it's like whether or not they want to compensate the players is up to them or not. Because, like, you still paid for the game, and you still have the game you paid for. But it's like, technically I don't, but, you know. It's like, an example is with World of Warcraft, they had a DLC that completely changed the overworld of the game. And removed entire locations and stories and stuff like that. People got mad, and because of that, there was like legal issues and stuff. So now there's this ruling where it's like an MMO can change their shit and stuff like that as long as, like, you know, it's in their terms of service, which Destiny has. So it's like legally they're in their right and everything, but it's still fucking bullshit that they're doing this. Because, like, I paid $100 for a game I can't even play anymore.
Yeah, and like with Rocket League, that just went free to play, by the way. Totally recommend downloading it.
Yeah, but at least with Rocket League, it's still the same game. You still have all the stuff you had paid for it originally. It's just now free. But with Destiny 2, that's all gone. I literally do not have anything I paid for anymore.
The way that Rocket League used to work was that you could buy DLC packs with like different cars and stuff. Like I bought the DC superhero car pack, and on my Switch I bought the DeLorean DLC. Can't find it anymore. I want to buy the DeLorean DLC on PC, but like I don't think you can. I mean, I looked and I couldn't find like where to any like easily accessible place to buy it. Now the way that it works is you can like unlock parts, but you don't unlock stuff. You unlock the privilege to spend real money on it.
Oh.
And it's way more expensive. Like it, relying on that system, like if you do want to upgrade your car, like customize the cosmetics, the game is now more expensive in the long run, if that's what you want to do, than before when you just bought the game and you could, you know, buy DLC, but also like unlock stuff in game.
I mean, I got the Halo thing for free, so I'm good. Like, all I need is my warthog. But yeah, no, I hate games doing that, where it's like, oh, it's free to play, this is okay. Like Fortnite, like we play it a lot, we like it. I'm not
I get
afraid
a
to
game.
admit it.
I don't have problems with games that started out as free to play. They stay free to play. They make their money off of like cosmetic stuff. I understand that, but I don't like when a game that you paid for goes free to play.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's always like really upsetting. Like when
you should
Destiny
at least
2
get some
did
kind
it,
of like
I was
reward.
mad.
You should get like special rewards or like a bunch of in-game currency if you bought the game. Like if you bought a game for $60 and it goes free to play, you should get $60 worth of in-game currency.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an example. I was reimbursed V-Bucks from Fortnite a little bit ago for some reason. I don't remember what that was for. I think they I don't know. Maybe they got rid of a skin and I didn't realize it. But yeah, no, some companies actually do like give players, a little something something. Bungie doesn't though, And like, I don't know, this whole Destiny 2 thing made me realize like maybe me fanboying over the Bungie era shit. Maybe I was looking at the wrong company this whole time. Maybe 343 was the real soul behind Halo. Because, like, I always thought Bungie was, like... I always thought because they sold to 343, like, Halo's gone downhill now. But now looking at it, I'm starting to feel... Maybe it was Bungie. Maybe Bungie was what the problem was. Because I own all the Halo games that have come out now. Except for Halo Infinite, because that's still coming out. And I have not had any of them go free to play and lose money on it. I've not had them remove stuff I've bought in them. I've had Destiny do that, though. I've been dicked over by an entire company I used to have respect in, and I hate it. I can't really formulate a good argument because I'm getting like really pissed off just thinking about it still. Because like, I don't know. At least when you pay for a game and it goes free to play, you still have like most of what you paid for. Like in your case, it's a bit different because of the vehicles and all that stuff being like not there anymore and shit. But like, I paid for a pre-order of the game, which came with 2 DLCs and the base game. The game went free to play, and I still had those. But now they're removing the base game and the 2 DLC areas. Like, the stories, everything about them, just entirely. And some of the loot is also going to be removed. And it's like, I paid $100 for this company because I had good faith in them. I wanted to see their game succeed. And now they're just basically taking my money and running. Because what's left is all just the free-to-play model stuff, besides the other DLCs you can buy, for $60, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, maybe give me one of those for free?
Yeah, I'm looking on the Rocket League store page on Steam right now, because that's what I play on. And yeah, I cannot find
the DeLorean thing?
Any DLC.
It probably was all just added into it then.
Well, I couldn't find that stuff like in the in-game shop either when I looked a while ago.
Does it cycle things out? Because I know Gears of War and Fortnite do that.
God, I hate it when they cycle stuff out.
I'm okay with it. It just depends on like what the game is. Like if it's like Warface, where a lot of it is like you buy the guns and shit, and these are weapons that you're gonna need to upgrade and like do stuff with. Like that's okay. If it's just the cosmetics items, it's like yeah, I get cycling it out. But like when it's actual like in-game things that you use, and it actually has an effect on the game, I don't like it when they do that cycle shit.
Yeah, I just get annoyed, like, in Fortnite when, like,
there's a skin you
miss
want?
you miss the window to buy something, then you have to wait until they just decide to start selling it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would have spent money on this, but you decided to cycle it out, so now I am not going to spend money on your platform.
Yeah. No, I agree. But the problem is with Fortnite and those other games, though, it's like, how are they going to implement it in a way that's not, like, annoyingly hard to navigate through?
Just have a store page. You can still, like, feature stuff. I get, cycling stuff out on, like, a featured page, but still just have it so you can just go through a list of different things that you can buy on
there's so many skins, though. Like, there's so many, like, skins. There's, like, different colors of the original default skins, and there's, like, all these other things, and, like, every season they add, like, I think 100 skins. And we're in, like, season, I think, if you count it up from season 1 to now, it's been, like, 14 or 15 seasons. So you're talking about 1,400 to 1,500 skins that you have to go through. And that's not counting pickaxes, back bling, weapon skins.
Well, I mean, it's not too hard to just have that stuff on a storefront and just make it so you can sort by category or sort by season.
I'm not saying it'd be hard for the play. I'm saying for, like, the actual coders to get all that stuff set up in a way that, like, works for how they have their UI set up and everything.
See, I don't know if it would be that hard.
When it comes to, like, changing UIs,
speaking as someone who has never coded once in their life, I think it wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, but no, I've read developer diaries on, like, mods and stuff where they're talking about how difficult it is to change UIs and things like that, and why a lot of game developers don't do it is because, like, some of the code, like, you can change one thing in it and it will just fuck up everything entirely. Because, like, game code is, like, the most unstable shit. Apparently, it's like raw plutonium. You drop that shit, delicious. You're gonna blow up. And nutritious. Yeah, nah.
Don't forget to take your plutonium gummies.
Before we close out, though, because we were talking about getting it ripped off, my heart goes out to all of you that bought Rogue Company. That is I think it's a Battle Royale team shooter game thing that just went free to play.
Oh, I think I saw that on Epic.
They have paid $40 for it and shit like that, and, like, it's been out for a month.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, it is very rough. At least with Destiny, before they fucked me over, it was about 2 or 3 years. These guys, not even a year. I feel so fucking bad for them. But, yeah. Ugh. Just doing some stretching. We can close out, though, if you want.
All right.
Maybe do some Fortnite or something.
All right, cool, yeah.
Keep that in.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to Bold of You to Say. I have been your host, Alex, and that over there has been your other host, Jared.
Yes.
And if you like today's show, be sure to like and subscribe and share with people that would like it. Even if you didn't like today's episode, share it with all of your friends. Chances are one of them will like it. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Our social media will be linked in the description.
Once again, I do not draw art on my account.
Jared's Twitter handle is a lie, just so you know.
I still haven't changed it yet. I've been on Twitter a total of 20 times since the last episode.
Yeah, our social media,
have yet to change it.
Our social media will be in the description, so you can yell at us there if you disagree with anything that we have said in the show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or, I think, Overcast, one of those obscure ones, you can review in-app. Leaving a review is a great way to help us out. It'll get us. It's good for analytics, I guess. It'll make us more out there. I don't quite know exactly how it works, but I know it's good if you leave a review. So do that if you feel like it. If you're listening on YouTube, you can leave a comment with what you'd like us to talk about next, or if you disagree with anything that we said, again, you can yell at us there. I think that's everything. Thank you and goodbye.
Good night.